Here's a story. Now, imagine there's an invisible force field around our planet. And now imagine that for billions of years, that force field's been protecting us from a beam of supercharged plasma that would otherwise wipe out life on Earth as we know it. Now, you might think this is some kind of science fiction story, but it's all true. And it's what gives us this, the aurora. So the aurora is one of mankind's oldest mysteries. We've come up with some crazy theories of how to explain it along the way. Well, take Aristotle. He thought the aurora was the sky vomiting little bits of flames. But it wasn't until the 1600s that we figured out two key things that helped us explain the aurora. One, the Earth is really just one big magnet. And second, it turns out that the sun gives off a lot more than just light. Long before any sunlight hits Earth, it's born at the edge of the sun. And the edge of the sun, the corona, is a busy, beautiful place, full of churning whirlpools of plasma and huge magnetic arcs. All that action is constantly releasing waves of energized particles, creating what we call the solar wind. Now, a few days after leaving the sun, traveling at a whopping 400 kilometers per second, that blast of charged particles reaches Earth. But luckily, we've got a secret weapon on our side, Earth's swirling molten core. Our core is the key to life on Earth. It creates a magnetic force field around us that deflects the solar wind up and away, making life down here much more enjoyable. Now, because of that magnetic field, we have nice things like an atmosphere, and we're much less burned to a crisp thanks to wave after wave of planet-sterilizing radiation. But despite all that, a tiny bit of that solar wind does hop on the magnetic field and ride it up or down to the Earth's poles. And that's where we get the auroras. When those energized particles smash into gases way up high in our atmosphere, they excite them, which means the gas atoms grab onto a bit of energy. But they don't stay excited for long. They give off that stored energy in a bright burst of light. Different atoms in our atmosphere each give off different colors. Excited oxygen is what gives off that familiar green and red that most of us think of when we hear aurora. But there's also nitrogen up there, and it can give off a really cool mix of red and blue light that makes the sky glow this incredible purplish pink. Now, we can only see this happening at night, but it's happening 24 hours a day of every year. It's also happening on Saturn and Jupiter. Sometimes the sun takes that wind and turns it up to 11, and that can be a very dangerous sight to behold. Now, extreme solar storms called coronal mass ejections can erupt into space almost without warning, unleashing huge waves of charged particles. And if they happen to be pointed at Earth, then look out. Now, these storms are incredibly powerful. Astronauts that are working outside of the Earth's magnetic field say that if you close your eyes during one of these solar storms, you'll see bright flashes of light from the charged particles reacting with the fluid inside your eye. And in 1859, a storm so powerful hit Earth that it powered a telegram from Boston to Portland, Maine, with the equipment unplugged. When those rare, violent storms hit Earth's magnetic field and ride up to the polar atmosphere, we're treated to an aurora show like no other. Now, these images are more than just works of art. They let scientists study how solar storms affect life here on Earth, like our electronics, our communications. Some of the best views of Earth's auroras have been captured from the International Space Station. The space station passes near the north and south poles of our planet about once every 90 minutes. So if they pass by the poles when it's dark, the auroras are close enough to reach out and touch, although I wouldn't recommend that. NASA makes sure that the astronauts that work on the ISS are highly trained photographers. And artists down here on Earth are taking their photos and remixing them into creations that are enough to blow your mind. This celestial light show has been burning bright for perhaps billions of years, and it's more than just Earth's private art show. It's painted by an invisible force that surrounds our living planet, a force that catches wind from the sun and turns it into light. It gives humans a constant reminder of the beauty of the night sky, and it's right there in our planetary backyard. And that's pretty awesome.
Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Click to subscribe. Check the description to follow us on Twitter and find a link to the blog.